Howdy y'all, welcome. I know it's been a while since I've been on here last, so let's go ahead and get right on into what we could expect for the next couple of weeks. As you can see, there are heat advisories and heat warnings in effect for really much of the eastern part of the country, which what else is new? We are already past the first day of summer and we're already at the end of June and into July, so we are pretty much in the dog days of summer at this point. Majority of these go through this weekend and even past this weekend for most areas. There's also a flood watch down here in the southwest where y'all do need the precipitation. It goes into effect through Wednesday morning for upwards of 1 to 2 to possibly 4 inches in some areas. And speaking of the drought in New Mexico, there is an extreme drought down here in southwestern parts of New Mexico, so y'all do need the rain. It's not going to be a drought-busting rain or anything, but it is well needed. Take any sort of rain y'all can get down there. And other than rain, there was snow up there in Glacier National Park, so that's a sight for sore eyes if you hate snow like I do. But if you love snow, then it's a good place to go see it. I'm not expecting it to last much longer because there is a slight risk for hazardous temperatures as we head into the beginning parts of July up here in the northwest, so I would expect that snow to melt off as we head into the beginning parts of July. There's also a slight risk down here in the East Coast as well, so let's go ahead and get into the temperatures. Since there is some heat advisories and some heat warnings issued here in the eastern part of the country, we can see the next few days gonna be in the hundreds for the eastern part of the country, still remaining a little bit cool up here in the higher elevations of the western part of the country in the Rockies, but of course 100-degree temperatures as far north as Nebraska and even 90s in Canada. And this is just going to continue all the way into and even past this weekend. But as we head into July though, we could be coming into a little bit of a cool off. You can see some cool air funneling in up here in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region as we head into right around the July 4th or 6th time frame. So we could be coming into a little bit of a cooling trend as we head into July. And as I rewind this July 4th, I know I did fast forward through this. I'm sorry about that. But we can see 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's going to be relatively cool here in the East Coast. Really hot here in the Central Plains and western part of the country, so we could be dealing with some cool temperatures here out east for July 4th, so enjoy that. But out west, it's going to be a steamy, hot day out there for fireworks. And it's looking like as we head further into July, now keep in mind this is well over 300 hours out. Canada will change, but it's looking like we could have a cool start to July. And as we take a look at the apparent temperatures, the feels like going to be even hotter than that, obviously. Could be dealing with triple-digit temperatures in the eastern part of the country. Some areas could be coming in on feels like temperatures of almost 120 degrees down here in the southeast, on top of some humidity. As we take a look at the humidity, actually, we can see got a lot of humidity on top of those very, very hot temperatures for the next couple of days. So it's definitely going to be a steamy one out there, y'all. 100-degree feels like temperatures with 100-degree heat. Definitely going to be a scorcher. And this is just going to keep continuing on and on and on all the way into and past this weekend, at least until the beginning parts of July. So there will be some relief in sight, y'all, but you just have to wait till we get past this weekend. And I think we're going to be in the clear, but of course we are going to be heading into the dog days of summer, which is from July all the way into August. So be aware of that, y'all. And speaking of the heat, you got to practice heat safety. Make sure you don't leave the pets or the kids in the car. If you are, then make sure you leave it running with air on. Don't crack the window, it just makes it worse. It's a big tin can pretty much. If you're going to be working outside, stay hydrated, take breaks, seek shade, make sure you have a wet rag, cool rag, and a fan. Maybe a portable fan even, those are good. Indoors, make sure if you don't have an air conditioner, make sure you have a cool rag to keep you cool. Make sure you sit in front of a fan. Of course, crank the air. If you're outdoors, make sure you bring those pets inside. Make sure you don't walk the dog midday. So use your common sense pretty much, y'all. Heat-related deaths are very preventable, especially from now all the way into this weekend, as majority of the deaths do occur during heat waves like this, so please be aware of the heat this week, y'all. And of course, we don't need the Climate Prediction Center to tell us it's going to be hot, y'all, because it's going to be hot. Much of the country is going to be coming in on well above average temperatures, unless you live down here in the southwest where y'all coming in on some well-needed precipitation as there's a flood watch issued. Next 8 to 14 days, much of the same story, although we could be coming in on a little bit of a cooling trend here in the eastern part of the country because, as I showed y'all earlier, the upper Midwest could be coming in on some cool temperatures. But if you live down here in the south, deep south, and down by Texas, could be remaining in some very hot temperatures. So we could be coming into a cooling trend and some relief as we head into the beginning parts of July, but Canada will change obviously. But of course, the southwest is going to be a little bit chilly because it could be coming on some well-needed precipitation down there. Now, before we get into the precipitation outlook for the next couple of weeks, what y'all could expect, let's go ahead and take a look at the tropics, as we do have our first named storm out here in the Atlantic, Andrea. Not expected to turn into much. It's going to turn into a tropical storm and not impact anybody, so that's some good news. It's going to turn into a tropical depression by Wednesday morning. Good news is, not going to affect anybody. Bermuda, y'all out of the woods as far as this goes anyway. Eastern Pacific has been pretty active out there here lately, and we do have another chance of formation. It's a 70% chance just west of Mexico, so be aware of this if you live out here by Hawaii. I'm not expecting it to hit y'all, but you never know. Can will change. And we can see the National Hurricane Center doesn't have anything forming out there by y'all, but can and will change. And we are expecting a below average hurricane season in Hawaii, and it has been a slow start out here in the Atlantic. Now, the reason why it was a slow start is because we've had these cool sea surface temperatures and a lot of unfavorable conditions, pretty much like wind shear and cool sea surface temperatures, like I mentioned earlier. And we can see that the sea surface temperatures are going to really start to warm up here in the Gulf of America and out here by the Atlantic. Still going to be cool just west of Africa, but if anything interacts with this favorable environment in the main development region, then we could have some formation. But of course, the National Hurricane Center hasn't issued any advisories yet, so I'm not too worried just yet, as we are coming into a slow start to hurricane season. But of course, last year was a slow start as well, but we did have a few strong hurricanes, which made it a pretty big hurricane season. So please be aware of this. Even though if you come into a slow start, could have a few strong hurricanes that could make it a very significant season. As you can see, the sea surface temperatures out here in the Gulf of America are very, very, very favorable and going to heat up drastically, which is going to be a powder cake environment for any sort of system forms out there. So we're coming into peak hurricane season, y'all, which is in September, and that's when Hurricane Beryl formed as well, and that was a Category 5. So I'll be keeping y'all informed, of course, on that. As far as the Pacific Basin goes, pretty favorable conditions out just west of Mexico. That's why they issued the 70% chance, so be aware of this if you live out there. And it's looking like we do have some favorable conditions out by Hawaii, but I'm not expecting it to impact y'all unless it moves west, which, because we do have some cool temperatures just north of that 70% chance, which I'm expecting it not to turn into anything. It's just going to die off and not impact anybody except for just bringing a lot of heavy precipitation to Mexico and much of the desert southwest. And this is why they issued that flood watch, by the way, because it's remnants of some hurricanes that have brought a lot of precipitation to Mexico. So that's why y'all are coming in on a lot of precipitation down there. And speaking of precipitation, let's go ahead and take a look at the simulated infrared radar. You can see the 70% chance of formation down here. If anything, I'm expecting it to probably turn into a tropical depression, or at most probably a tropical storm, which is going to result in a lot of heavy rainfall for parts of Mexico and even some rainfall down here in the desert southwest. Hawaii, I'm not expecting anything out there except for some heavy rainfall by July 1st, so be aware of that. But nothing to worry about out there by Hawaii or really in Mexico except for just some heavy rainfall. The Atlantic Basin do have Andrea out there, but it's not expected to impact anybody. We can see we do have some systems down here in Central America and the Caribbean islands, so just got a lot of heavy precipitation going on down there, and we do have some systems coming off the coast of Africa, but National Hurricane Center hasn't issued any advisories yet, so not too worried about those. But we do have some favorable sea surface temperatures out here in the Gulf, so anything forms out here, it's going to come into a powder keg environment. Of course, nothing is expected just yet, so don't worry, y'all. Slow hurricane season to start, but of course that can and will change, and I will let y'all know if any sort of systems form and impact us here in the near term. Now, before we get into the precipitation forecast for the next couple of weeks, let's go and take a look at what kind of severe weather we could be coming in on. Now, I did capture a storm cloud, which was developing some cold core funnels last week, so that's pretty cool. My dad actually caught that photo, so it's pretty neat of him. Thanks, Dad, for that. We can see there's slight risks for the next couple of days, marginal risk on Thursday, and a 15% chance on Wednesday. Let's actually take a look at the risks. Today, all hazards are possible, mainly hail and high winds. Tomorrow, on good old hump day, there's a slight risk down here in the southeast, mainly low wind hazards. Main threat's going to be high winds, though. Then on Thursday, just a marginal risk, nothing to worry about, but of course, significant severe weather can still happen on low wind days. And on Friday, there is a 15% chance of severe weather from Nebraska up into the Dakotas and probably parts of Canada as well. I know Brandon caught him a tornado in Canada, so that's great for him. Glad he caught him one, and that was good to see. So could have another active weather pattern as we head into the end of this week, especially with all this heat and humidity and some cool air coming down. Could be dealing with another active weather pattern. Now let's go ahead and get into the precipitation outlook for the next couple of weeks. We already know we got severe weather in the central and southeast as we head into this weekend, so it's going to be very soggy and stormy as we head into this weekend for much of the central and eastern part of the country. Southwest is going to be coming in on well-needed rain as well because we got the system down here just west of Mexico. So that's some good news, but I'm not expecting any sort of drought-busting rain or anything. But any rain is well needed and we'll take it down there, of course. Northwest is going to be pretty dry as we head into this weekend. The snow up there in Glacier National Park is expected to melt off. We're just going to remain soggy here for quite some time, really. And this is pretty odd for this time of year. Usually we're dry as a bone this time of year, but we'll take it. Not complaining here. And of course, further we go out, the more uncertainty there is. And of course, the GFS likes to print tropical storms and hurricanes 300 some hours out. And here we are. Big Bend of Florida is looking like we could have a system, but this can will change, and I'll let y'all know. We do have favorable sea surface temperatures down there in the Gulf of America, but can will change and most likely will not happen. But again, I'll let y'all know. And as far as the July 4th forecast goes, pushes to 8 o'clock in the evening Eastern time. It's looking like it's going to be a washout here in the eastern part of the country. Some areas could be good to go. Out west by the Colorado Rockies could be pretty rainy out there as well. And I do have the forecast for that, by the way. And keep in mind that I will have another forecast out before Independence Day, maybe on Monday or Tuesday of next week. So keep that in mind. This is just a sneak peek. This will change. It's looking like from the Northeast down into the Midwest. Could be pretty rainy. Could be a washout, unfortunately. But from the plains down into the Southwest, could be good to go. Although there could be some fire risks associated with it. Could be some firework bans out west. So be aware of that. And make sure you have a fire extinguisher nearby and a garden hose just for safety reasons. But it's looking like from the plains and the Southwest, good to go. Northeast to the Midwest, as of now, could be a washout in some areas, so keep that in mind. Can and will change, and I'll let y'all know Monday or Tuesday in my official Independence Day forecast. And there is actually another 24-hour race going on this weekend if you are interested in sports car racing, the 24 Hours of Spa. We got practice and qualifying going on Thursday. It's going to be cloudy, high in the upper 60s and lows in the low 60s. Final practice and final qualifying. It's going to be foggy to start the practice and qualifying, sunny to end the day. It's going to be in the mid 70s, lows in the low 60s. Race day starts at 4:30 European time. If you are interested in watching the race, it starts at 10:30 Eastern time in the morning. The high is going to be in the low 80s and the low is going to be in the 40s. So it's going to be pretty chilly if you're heading out to that race. Bundle up, of course. End of race is going to be at 4:30 in the evening European time and 10:30 in the morning Eastern time. It's going to be in the upper 70s. So hopefully Corvette picks up the victory. Be rooting for the Corvette team over there. So let me know in the comment section down below who y'all are rooting for. I know the Aston Martin team is pretty good and the Porsche teams are good as well. So let me know in the comment section down below who y'all are rooting for. Of course, Corvette is my team. So now let's go ahead and get into the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. You can see much of the country is above average as far as precipitation goes. It's going to be pretty soggy. Pretty odd to see that this time of year. Usually it's dry as a bone. Next 8 to 14 days as we head into July, much of the same stories. So much of the country is going to be well above average, especially down here in the Southwest where y'all do need the rain and could be coming in on some drought relief. But I'm not expecting it to be a drought buster or nothing because y'all need a lot of rain down there. And as we can see here, the risk of heavy precipitation as we head into July, expecting some heavy precipitation down here in the deep south and even the southwest, so some Independence Day plans could unfortunately get ruined, but of course the can will change, of course. So basically, it's gonna be wet as we head into July and very, very, very hot for much of the country as we're heading into the dog days of summer, which is from July all the way into August. And I'll explain why we call it the dog days of summer in my July outlook, which will be Thursday or on Friday. I'll let y'all know. Now to wrap this video up, we'll take a look at some telescopes out there. The Webb telescope is capturing large-scale structures of the universe, while the Hubble telescope is actually capturing exoplanets, exoplanet formation. Now, I have been posting a lot about these telescopes on X and Facebook in my little newspaper called the Weather Chronicle. They have been finding some very fascinating findings, so make sure you go follow those pages as I cover space explorations, wartime weather history, significant weather history on this day, the weather for sporting events and the weather for the day, as well as some other interesting stuff as well. So make sure you go follow those pages, as I have been posting a daily newspaper called the Weather Chronicle. And we do have some auroras tonight and tomorrow night. If they are going to be visible, if there's clear skies, you might be able to see the auroras up here in the northern part of the country, especially up here in Canada and Alaska. So get out there and enjoy the auroras, y'all. So hopefully y'all enjoyed today's little weather forecast. You did, make sure to hit that like and share button so more folks are informed about the weather, and also leave me some feedback in the comment section down below. See what helps provide you, the viewer, better and more informative content in the future. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already, because I hear once weather we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. So basically the next couple weeks is going to be hot and very soggy, so prepare for that, y'all. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go follow my X and Facebook pages, as I have been posting a daily newspaper on there called the Weather Chronicle. Very fascinating stuff on that newspaper, like space weather, wartime weather history, and more. So make sure you go follow those pages as well. So stay cool, y'all. Stay hydrated, as it's looking like the heat is going to last all the way into July. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy your day, y'all. Stay cool. Stay safe out there. And until next time, thank you for watching, and never stop forecasting.